The first time Emma's husband, David, refused to eat with the lights on, she didn't think much of it. Maybe he just didn't like being watched while eating. Some people were like that, quiet and private. She brushed it off, smiled, and continued her meal, thinking nothing of it. But over time, Emma began to notice how strange David's habit really was. Every evening, just before dinner, he would quietly stand, walk to the switch, and turn the lights off. He never said why. He never explained. He just ate in complete darkness. And when he finished eating, he would switch the lights back on, smile at her, and act like nothing had happened. At first, Emma thought maybe it was a little harmless habit, something to laugh about one day. But then, strange things began to happen. When he ate in the darkness, Emma would sometimes hear things, small noises that made her skin crawl. The sound of spoons scraping too hard against the plate. Breathing that didn't sound like his. And whispers she couldn't explain. One night, she couldn't hold her curiosity anymore. She asked softly, "David, why do you like eating in the dark?" He looked at her with a blank face. His voice was calm but low. "Let's not talk about it. Just leave the lights off, okay?" "But, David," she began. Before she could finish, he interrupted, his tone suddenly softer as his eyes fell on her stomach. Are we expecting a baby?" Emma froze. She had just discovered she was 1 month pregnant. The question melted her heart. She touched her belly and smiled. That night, she let it go. They talked about baby names, plans, and their future together. But still, David never stopped eating in the dark. Every night, it was the same. Darkness, silence, and those chilling sounds again. One evening, Emma decided she couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to know what really happened when he ate. While David sat at the dining table, eating quietly in the dark, Emma stood up and reached for the light switch. Her hand trembled. Then came his voice, low, heavy, almost shaking. "Don't turn the lights on. Don't try it." But she had endured enough. She needed to see. And so, she flipped the switch. The light came on. What she saw made her blood run cold. The chair where David had been sitting was empty. The food she had served was gone. The room was silent, too silent. Then, something moved on the table. Something long, slimy, crawling like an earthworm. Emma staggered backward, her scream caught in her throat. "David!" she cried out. "Where are you?" Footsteps. He walked calmly out of the kitchen, smiling, wiping his hands with a napkin. "You look scared," he said, pretending to look confused. "What's wrong?" "Don't come near me," she shouted, backing away. "Emma, what's going on?" he asked softly, his face full of concern. "You were eating here just now. But when I turned the lights on, you were gone. I saw something crawling on the table." He frowned and walked toward the table. "Where is it then?" he asked. Emma turned to point, and froze. The table was spotless. No food. No worms. Nothing. David smiled faintly. "There's nothing here, Emma. I finished eating and kept the plate away. Maybe you're just tired. Stop imagining things." He wrapped his arms around her gently. His body felt warm, but inside, Emma was shaking. Tears rolled down her face. She didn't even know why. "It's bedtime," he whispered. "You go ahead," she said quickly, pretending to watch TV. When he went to bed, she sat still, staring blankly at the screen. Her mind was racing. Was she going crazy? Was she safe in this marriage? What was her husband hiding? The next morning, she made a decision. Before work, she went to talk to Mark, their next-door neighbor, and also David's closest friend. She told him everything. Mark's face turned pale. "That's strange," he muttered. "I've known David for years. I can't believe this." Then he leaned closer and whispered, "Listen, tonight, when he eats, text me. I'll come over. If what you say is true, we'll call your family. Something must be done." Emma nodded, relieved. She didn't know that Mark was already part of something darker, something connected to David's secret. That evening, Emma came home early. She wasn't feeling well, so she lay down for a bit. Moments later, she heard David come back. He had forgotten something. Before he got to the door, she heard Mark's voice outside. "I told you," Mark said quietly. "I don't trust your wife. I knew she'd interfere. Imagine what she did last night." "How did you know?" David asked, sounding alarmed. Mark's voice dropped lower. "Do the needful before it's too late." Emma's heart thudded. She pressed herself against the window, listening. David's voice shook. "She's pregnant." "So what?" Mark said coldly. "You know the rules." Emma gasped loudly. Both men turned toward the window. Their eyes met hers. Their faces hardened. Fear shot through her body. She ran to the door and slammed it shut. "Open this door," David shouted, pounding against it. Emma pressed her back against the door, crying. "Why, David? Didn't I love you enough? What are you hiding from me?" There was silence. Then, slow footsteps fading into the night. Emma grabbed her phone, ready to call someone, but something in her froze. She walked to the window again. Mark was gone. Only David stood outside, staring up at her. "Please," he said softly, "don't call anyone. Just listen to me." "Why should I?" she shouted. "After everything I saw and heard?" "Because I love you," he whispered. "And you're carrying my child." His eyes looked different, tired, sad, and full of pain. "If you love me, open the door. I'll explain everything, even what you saw that night." Emma's breath caught. She hesitated. Then slowly, almost against her will, she unlocked the door. David stepped in quietly and sat down. "Talk," Emma said, her hands trembling. "I'm listening." He stared at the dining table. "10 years ago," he began, then stopped. His eyes shifted to the empty chair, the same one where he always sat in the dark. He stared at it for a long time, and Emma thought she saw a shadow move across it, as if someone invisible was sitting there. Her heart pounded. Just then, her phone buzzed, a message from her parents. She quickly slipped to the back door and opened it. Her parents were there, along with a cleric and a security officer. They had also called David's parents. "We must handle this tonight," her father whispered. Emma nodded and went back to the sitting room. But when she entered, David was gone. The door was still locked, the windows untouched. Yet he had vanished. Her phone rang suddenly. It was David's father. "My daughter, are you all right?" he asked gently. "I'm fine," she stammered. His voice turned firm. "Where is your husband?" I don't know." He sighed. "Don't worry. We're on our way. Your marriage is safe. Trust us." Minutes later, David's parents arrived. They walked in quietly and stood at the center of the room. David's father moved toward the dining table. He stood at the exact spot where David always sat. His lips moved silently, whispering something no one could hear. Emma's mother whispered, "Look at the kind of family our daughter married into." But her father held her back. "Wait. Let's hear the truth." Then David's father turned. "Bring some food," he said calmly. Emma hesitated, then brought a plate of food and placed it on the table. The air grew heavy. Then the kitchen door creaked. David stepped out. Everyone froze. His father's face hardened. "Sit down," he commanded. David obeyed and sat. "Eat this food," his father ordered. "Now." David's hands trembled. He looked at his father, then at Emma, then at the food. "I can't," he whispered. "You know the rules. The lights must be off." Tears suddenly filled his eyes. "You caused this," he shouted, his voice cracking. "You forced me into this family curse. You said I had to continue the tradition because I'm your only son." Gasps filled the room. His father looked away, uncomfortable. "Enough. Don't make a scene," he muttered. But David continued, shaking with anger and pain. "My wife is afraid of me. I'm losing her. I can't live like this anymore." His father's tone grew louder. "Stop talking. You don't know what you're saying." "No," David cried. "I will tell everyone the truth." "Silence," his father shouted. "You will not destroy this family's legacy." "Then free me from it." David yelled. "I'm done hiding in darkness." He blocked the door, tears streaming down his face. Emma ran to his side. "Go on," she whispered. "Tell us the truth." David nodded weakly. "I eat in the dark because the food changes. It turns into worms. And I never eat alone. There's always another presence at the table. For 10 years, I haven't tasted normal food." Everyone gasped. David's father screamed, clutching his chest, and collapsed. The cleric stepped forward, his voice strong. "In the name of the Most High, every curse is broken. Be free." A cold wind swept through the house. The lights flickered. David's father trembled violently, then went still. David fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I'm free," he whispered. The next morning, they learned that his father had fallen terribly ill. Before dying, his father whispered one final sentence. "I will never abandon the tradition." Then he took his last breath. They mourned him deeply, but after the pain and tears, peace finally returned to their home. Weeks later, one quiet evening, Emma cooked dinner. For the first time in months, they sat together, with the lights on. "Honey," Emma said with a playful smile, "should I turn off the lights?" David chuckled softly and reached for her hand. "Don't try it," he said warmly. "I no longer belong to the dark. I am a child of light now." They both smiled, and Emma's heart felt free. Months later, joy doubled in their home when she gave birth to twins. They named them Adam and Eve, symbols of strength, faith, and triumph after the storm. And just when they thought the storm was over, unpredictable occurrences began to happen that made them question their existence. Like this video and comment, "I want part 2" if you want to know what happened next. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that YouTube will notify you when we post part 2.